I've been looking through this London property data for January 2026, and honestly, it's a bit of a mixed bag.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. On one hand, you've got this stable financing picture, but on the other, you see these screaming headlines about prices falling off a cliff. So the core question for you listening is pretty simple, I think. Is this a real buying signal, or is the slump just getting started? Should you move or should you wait?
And that's really our mission today. We need to cut through all that numerical volatility and synthesize the key indicators. So we're talking rates, actual prices, rents, and of course, buyer confidence.
To get the true state of play.
Exactly, because what the data really suggests is that London is settling into a surprisingly balanced phase, an equilibrium.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the financing, because if borrowing costs were still jumping around, this would be a totally different conversation.
Completely different.
But we're seeing some major stabilization here. The Bank of England held the base rate at 3.75% after that tweak in December. And critically, the average 5-year fixed mortgage, it's holding steady, right around 4.91%.
And that steady number, that's the foundation of this whole equilibrium we're talking about. You could think of the borrowing market like a roller coaster that's finally, pulled back into the station.
Okay, I like that.
It's still expensive to get on, sure, but at least the ticket price isn't going to suddenly change tomorrow. And that predictability, that's what signals improving competition among lenders.
Which means my monthly payments might not be quite so terrifying.
It means they may ease slightly, yes. It just takes some of that volatility out of the equation for buyers.
Right. So if the financing picture is stabilizing, I'd expect prices to sort of follow suit. But that's not really what we're seeing, is it? Where is the pain still showing up?
The pain is all in the completed sales, and that's why the headlines look so scary. London recorded a really significant house price index drop. We're talking minus 2.40% year on year. That brings the average price down to about £547,000.
Wow.
And even if you just look month on month, prices still dropped another 1.90%.
That 2.4% year-on-year drop, that means the average price fell by, over £13,000 in real terms?
It did.
That's a powerful number.
Yeah.
That has to be catching the attention of buyers who've just been waiting on the sidelines.
Precisely. But, and this is the crucial bit, the HPI reflects old transactions, things that were agreed months ago. If you look at asking prices, what sellers are demanding right now, it's a different story.
How different?
They only dropped about 1.2% month on month, and year on year, they were completely flat, 0% change.
So sellers are digging their heels in.
It suggests they're holding their ground, yes, even if the low volume of completed sales is dragging that main index down.
Okay, so what is it that's counteracting these price drops and keeping the market on this steady footing, as you called it?
Well, you have to look at the other side of housing demand.
The rental market.
The rental market. It's incredibly robust. Rents grew by 2.80% year on year. And on top of that, consumer confidence, surprisingly, it held steady at minus 17.
So people aren't panicking.
Not in the same way. That rental growth is the crucial counterweight. It supports what analysts call income resilience.
Right. So what does that actually mean?
It just means that high rents guarantee strong yields for landlords and investors, so they can weather these small price dips without worrying too much because their monthly cash flow is still rock solid.
Got it. So that strong rental income is balancing out the softness in the sales market.
Exactly. It reinforces this idea of a stable, almost two-speed market.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does this actually mean for you, for the different people listening right now, trying to figure out if January 2026 is their moment to act?
Right. Well, for first-time buyers, the environment is, I'd say, marginally favorable. With that HPI price softness finally showing up in the numbers, you might just see better entry affordability than you did 6 months ago. It gives you a bit of leverage.
Especially at the lower end of the market.
Especially there. Now, for investors, the stability in rates is the key thing. It tells you that refinancing margins are narrowing.
Meaning your borrowing costs are more predictable.
Yes, and so your leveraged cash flow assumptions, basically the money you expect to make from rent after you've paid the mortgage, are improving. Things look a little more certain.
That's a fantastic deep dive into the numbers and the real conflict they present.
It is. And before we close, here's maybe a final thought for you to mull over. We've established that this market has found a sort of stability driven by predictable rates and strong rents.
Right.
The long-term question is how much of this stability is purely driven by this maybe temporary rate environment versus fundamental long-term shifts in what people want from urban living. Is this a blip or a new normal? Keep an eye on that balance.